We're just starting to learn about a story that actually happened 3 years ago, but it's just now coming to light. By now, you've probably heard of WikiLeaks. It's a company that allows journalists and even government employees to log on and anonymously drop off sensitive data. Their entire nonprofit model is built on the premise that it is completely secure. It's a private place for whistleblowers and journalists to report or deliver tough information that could get them in trouble with the government. It is a safe haven for courageous investigative journalists, and now 3 years after the fact, Google quietly admits to WikiLeaks that it handed over emails to the federal government when they came knocking with a search warrant. It is a major power play from the feds, frightening journalists or whistleblowers who had any kind of communication with WikiLeaks at all. Google handed over all of WikiLeaks' email content, subscriber information, metadata, and other content. Editor-in-Chief Julian Assange responded to the reports from his secure location overseas. Assange said, "WikiLeaks has out-endured everything the Obama administration has thrown at us, and we will out-endure these latest offenses too." Now, Google is responding to these reports. The company says it is still their policy to notify users when the feds come knocking with search warrants. Even then, they said sometimes their hands are tied in limited cases, like when we are gagged by a court order, which sadly happens quite frequently. Google has also said they're pressuring the government to release all of that information to public record. And that's not enough to satisfy the lawyers at WikiLeaks. They want to know if Google put up any kind of a legal fight to the feds before handing over all of the sensitive data. Google maintains that it has a track record of standing up for its users, even when the feds are pushing hard. What we don't know is how much information Google gave the feds. They said they gave up all emails, subscriber information, and metadata, but after that, they just said other information. In the past, the feds have asked companies for credit card information and every last bit of evidence or information on a person. Of course, we also just recently reported that the White House was seeking a new data sharing deal with several large tech companies. The story is far from over. Still a lot more details left to emerge. On the same day that we learn about WikiLeaks' privacy breach, the feds continue the crackdown on the freedom of the press, as a judge convicts the man accused of leaking CIA secrets to a reporter with the New York Times. Jeffrey Sterling is his name, the former CIA operative fired years ago after several internal documents appeared in James Risen's book, State of War. In that book, Risen writes that the U.S. government intentionally tried to thwart Iran's nuclear program using a covert operation. But Sterling says he is innocent. Even though Attorney General Eric Holder forced Risen to appear in court, he refused to testify or give up any information about his sources. We recently had Marcy Wheeler on with us to talk about the evidence presented in this trial.
Before this trial started, I thought that there was a lot of circumstantial evidence against him, and I thought that the government would do what they have done, which is bring in people like Condi Rice and say, "Oh, very important program, very important program." But thus far, I've been shocked at how weak the government's case is, and that's even ignoring details such as that the government has yet to make a case that any action occurred in this district, in Eastern District of Virginia. So in other words, they haven't even proven that they're trying this case in the right place. Sterling is from Missouri, Rison is from Maryland, his office was in Washington. So, you know, even above the fact that they've shown clearly that the leak happened. They've shown that some people within the government think the program was really important, but they haven't shown anything to guarantee that it was Sterling. In fact, they've shown pieces that suggest somebody else was the source. But more importantly, is they may get booted on a technicality that they're in the wrong courthouse.
While reporters and legal analysts felt this case against Sterling was weak at best, the jury still ruled against him, finding him guilty on all 9 federal charges. Of course, this conviction is making some serious waves across the journalism industry. Many people very upset about violations against the freedom of the press. Lucy Dalglish is the former director of the Reporters Committee for the Freedom of the Press, and she says this sets an extremely dangerous precedent. Dalglish is the dean of the journalism school at the University of Maryland. Talking about the CIA, she says they're going to use this case to terrify federal employees. They're going to use this case to teach the intelligence community a lesson.
Son is 38.
Thousands of women in South Korea struggled to return to work after having children. As of 2013, only 56% of women working are in the workforce. South Korea is one of the world's fastest developing countries in need of employees. The Minister of Family and Gender Equality says that we have succeeded in recruiting women to the workforce, but retaining them is difficult. Low wages continue to be a problem in the country. Women earn only about 65% of what the average man makes. This gap has been the same since the 1990s. Now the Gender Equality Ministry is setting out to strengthen and create policies that enables mothers to go back to work if they choose to. One company is even offering an above-average performance rating to women who return to work after giving birth.
Our company tries to support women so that they are not considered to be parents who don't take care of their children well because they work hard.
Over 11 journalists have been murdered and 5 more have gone missing in the Mexican state of Veracruz. Now a mayor is being accused of murder. Here's Gary Franchi with more details.
Thanks, Amanda. Mexican journalist Moises Sanchez was known for his news website La Union, where he wrote about crime and corruption. When Sanchez's body was found in a ravine, the Veracruz state attorney stepped in. After questioning the entire police force, all signs pointed to Mayor Omar Cruz Reyes. And according to the men who carried out the attack, it was at the request of the mayor. Sanchez was getting in the way, and the Inter-American Press Association says that Sanchez had been receiving threats from the mayor for at least a year before his death. Cruz has denied any involvement with the murder and refuses to talk. According to constitutional immunity, as mayor, Cruz must be impeached before he can face any charges. The process to impeach him could take up to 25 days, and until then, Cruz cannot be legally prosecuted.
Hong Kong police are on the hunt for a young girl who stole a necklace from a luxury jewelry store worth over $4.6 million. The girl, believed to be as young as 12 years old, pocketed the item, while 3 suspected adult accomplices distracted security. Camera footage shows the girl calmly leaving the store with her hands in her pockets. How the girl stole the necklace is still unclear. It was reported that a key was stolen to unlock the display case while staff was distracted. Extra security has been deployed around the store since the robbery. Police are still investigating the incident.